All right, here's your 30-second handy how-to. You ever have stuff on your iron like starch or whatever? You can take that off with tea. I'm going to show you how. First, what we're going to do, let me grab a little bowl out of the cabinet here. I need to get a rag, and what you do is take cold tea. It doesn't need to be hot tea, and also you don't need to worry about heating up the iron. That's the good news there. Get this thing nice and soaked in cold tea. Now watch this. All you have to do is take it, soak it. Oh, look at this. You know what? I try real hard to keep my iron clean, so I was afraid that there wasn't enough here to clean up. Take a look at that. Wow, it actually works out pretty good. There you go. Cold tea, rag, cold iron, clean it right off. There's your 30-second handy how-to. There you go.
Well, it's never too early to start saving for college, and it can take a life savings to send a child to school, to some schools, but there are millions of dollars in scholarship money to be had. You just have to know where to get it and how to get it. That is where the Delmarva Education Foundation comes in. The nonprofit group out of Salisbury helps connect Delmarva students with the money they need to get an education.
Dr. Jenkins speaking. That sounds fine. Thank you.
Dr. Anthony Jenkins is Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. He's also a first-generation college graduate.
If you buy into the statistics and you listen to the criminologists and the sociologists and the psychologists, I'm not supposed to be a success story.
Jenkins and his 3 siblings grew up in a single-parent home in the inner city of Washington, D.C.
My mother was always very conscious about making sure that we knew that we could succeed, and she always encouraged and pushed us to do so.
And Jenkins did. Using scholarships, he eventually earned a PhD from Virginia Tech, and now he's making sure the next generation of students know they can do it too.
I am very passionate about young people and them taking the opportunity to take advantage of higher education.
Jenkins says college prep begins early on and at home.
I think parents should be having conversations with their students that college is something that you can do, and that they begin to have those conversations early.
Diane Johnson of the Delmarva Education Foundation agrees, saying there's literally millions of scholarship dollars for students who show they're willing to put in the hard work required to get a college education. And for those graduating high school in 2012, Diane says there are 5 things to do now to make sure you're in line for that money. First, make sure you've applied to all colleges you may be interested in. You don't want to get those applications in any later than January. Second, file what's called a FAFSA. It's basically a free application for student aid.
As soon as that ball falls, you and your parents be sitting there on the computer and ready to put in income tax information and social security numbers and get that into the system.
Many scholarships require letters of recommendation. Write a high school resume to give to people who write those letters. Students also need to maintain their good grades.
A lot of seniors get this terrible disease called senioritis. And they think, especially come January, got it in the bag. They don't realize that the colleges do look at the spring grades.
And finally, meet deadlines.
And follow directions. Those 2 things are crucial to a senior getting ready to leave high school and go into college.
And this weekend, the Delmarva Education Foundation is holding a scholarship fair. It's the first ever in the region. And joining us in the studio is Diane Johnson from the Delmarva Education Foundation. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Education Scholarship Fair in just a few moments. But first, I want to talk about some of the money that is out there, millions and millions of dollars, and sometimes it's never claimed.
That is
Why
correct.
is that?
Well, we had a scholarship sponsors forum, and we brought together sponsors, and they all said the same thing. We've got money here. We want to invest in the education of a young person, and we don't have any applicants. So it's a matter of not knowing where to look, of not, and a lot of our students don't have time. They're taking the AP courses,
Right.
they're working so hard to maintain their grades, and they just, it's like, when do I have time to be searching for this? And I don't know if they think that it's going to cost them money or something, and it doesn't. There's a lot of free resources out there.
And they may not think that they do anything special to earn those scholarships, but there are actually scholarships out there for some very unusual, shall we say, traits?
Well, we have a whole listing of unique characteristics for scholarships. I mean, we have a scholarship for young people who are going to summer camp. And I know we have a lot of phone calls at our office saying, my middle schooler wants to attend this summer camp and we don't have the money to send them. And I said, aha, I can help you there. Okay. There is a particular scholarship that we have on our database that is just to help young people, you know, attend these colleges. Some of those there, you have to be a veteran. I mean, you have to be a dependent of a veteran.
Right.
Maybe your family is an Elks member. Maybe you attend a particular church and they offer a scholarship. Maybe you have had cancer before the age of, I think it was 24. So there's different criteria, and if you don't realize that they're out there, they sit there and that money is never distributed.
That's amazing.
It
All
is.
right, well, let's get back to the scholarship fair that's coming up this Saturday. It is going to be at the Center at Salisbury from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday, January 14th, and you can learn about many of those scholarships. Now, tell me a little bit about that. What are we going to see there?
Well, this came from that Scholarship Sponsors Forum. They came up with the idea, we'd like to have something like this. There are job fairs, there are career fairs. Can we have a scholarship fair? And so that's our purpose with Delmarva Education Foundation, is to meet the needs of the community. And so we sat down and said, we can do this.
Yeah.
So we started contacting some of our sponsors, and we have about 28, I think. Wow. And they represent over 100 scholarships. And they're going to be meeting there, and the students are parents. And when I say students, this isn't just graduating high school seniors. Adults that are going back to school to reinforce their skills or start a whole new career pathway.
All right, and if you would like to find a scholarship for which you might be qualified, find a link to the Delmarva Education Foundation on the show tab of delmarvalife.com.
Well, we've got some more great news for you. This afternoon, you still have time to take advantage of today's Delmarva Life Daily Deal. Here's today's deal. Take a look at this. 50% off a 1-month membership to Flex World Fitness in Georgetown. All you have to do to get the deal is go to delmarvalife.com. How about that? That's a great deal.
I like that.
I'm liking that one a lot. Well, still ahead on Delmarva Life.
I'm going to win.
Lisa and I are off to the kitchen.
Yes, we're going to do our first ever recipe challenge, and yes, I'm going to win.
No, you're not.
Yes, you am.
No, you're not.
No.